Hi there, everybody. Welcome in. I'll be your guest host for the night, Hank Hill. I work in propane and propane accessories. Well, I'm retired now, but tonight I'll be teaching you all about sharks and shark accessories, if you will. Hold on a sec. Let me put my beer down. A little toasty in here, Mr. Geek. There we go, that's better. Where's Bobby? He's in Dallas now at work. He works at a Japanese restaurant. Well, it's I don't know, it's complicated. It's one of them fusion restaurants. He cooks his food on Japanese charcoal. Oh. Hurts me to even say it. Yeah, that boy ain't right. We're not talking about it right now. That's a sore subject for me, I'll tell you what. I mean, he's my boy, I still love him, I guess. Alright, y'all. I've been given the reins to show you a thing or two about sharks tonight. We've got a 360-degree video of a bunch of... What kind of sharks are they? Bulls, sandbars, and... yeah, I think that's it. Lemons. Oh, okay. Bull sharks, sandbars, and lemons. So, let me just get that video pulled up for you. How do we do that? It was much easier back in the day on my iMac when you just had one button on the mouse. I just want a picture of a god-dang hot dog. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? Well, now I do, but you had to be there. Just go to our transitions down here, and boom, look at that. We're inside the computer. Listen here, headphone cable, I'm gonna kick your ass. Alright, I think I fixed it. Now, I'm gonna guess, this fellow with the big bug eyes on the back of his head there. That's a hell of a fashion choice, but, what else is going on? That guy's probably in charge. He's got a big old spear gun and, what I can only assume is a bait box. So, alright, let's get going, shall we? Miss VVH? Thank you for the follow. Am I doing it right? Yeah, oh, alright. Appreciate you coming in here. Kush King 420 THC. Dear God. Well, welcome to the stream. It's a pleasure to have y'all. Cheers. Green Vector Games, welcome in. We're just kicking off this here, shark dive. I'm not sure if these are the, aggressive kind of sharks or what. But, we're gonna find out, I tell you what. I'm a little big. Can we shrink that down a little bit? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. How about that? Yeah, he made it in right after my joke about 420. Pretty good timing, I tell you what. Man, does this guy ever sit still? He's squirming around like a jumping bean. Well now, why would he just drop the bait in the water like that? That's wasteful. Don't see any sharks down there. Sir, are you doing your job or are you just playing around up there? Oh wait, there they come. I see one off in the distance. They must have smelt it from a long ways away. Nope, wait, that's just a big fish. There's a shark back in the background. Let me make sure we got our special effects going. Yes, okay. Color correction looks good. Back to full screen and we're diving. How about that? Technology, I tell you what. Get all the excitement of a shark dive without actually having to encounter any teeth. Oh, this guy with the big camera rig's making me dizzy. Oh. You know what? I think I flipped. I think Mr. Geek flipped the camera backwards here. On the stream last night, that's probably what happened. So we gotta do transform. Flip horizontal. Yeah, now we're talking. Alright. Now it actually looks like I'm paying attention instead of looking off the screen like a jackass. $810 out of 900 followers. That's not how many people are watching this, is it? Ugh. You told me there'd only be like 20 people. I feel lied to. Oh, there he goes. He's taking up all that fish that guy dropped. Well, how about that? That worked pretty well, I'll tell you what. That looks like one very happy shark. I believe that was a sandbar shark. If the briefing I got before the stream was accurate. Nerdwino, how you doing? Welcome in. How do I do this again? S-O Nerduino. Hey, that rhymed like a dime. There we go. Y'all be sure and follow this here feller Nerdwino. He is a former NASA scientist and all around just a fun and interesting guy to watch on his stream. Fun fact, this year at TwitchCon, he and Mr. Shark Geek will be hosting a beach cleanup. How about that? Doesn't that sound exciting? Do some good deeds and have a little fun in the process. I hear that's what this channel's all about. Hey, you're leaking some gas out of your vest there, mister. If I've learned anything in my illustrious career in propane and propane accessories, gas is a terrible thing to waste, I tell you what. Oh, let's see, we got 3 sharks now. Not too big. Okay, there's that big dorsal fin he told me about. That's gotta be... Yeah, I think all of these are sandbar sharks. I love beans? Well, that's a choice, I guess. Oh, God! Are they gonna keep getting this close? God. Oh, look at that came right up to his face that time. What the hell? Takes a special kind of person, I tell you what. This is great. I frequently leak gas. Sir, is this a family channel? Yeah, ish. But you should probably get that checked. If you put some plumber's caulk on there, you can usually find the leak. It'll start bubbling. Then you can plug that leak right up. That ought to help you, Mr. Nerdwino. From my BCD, obviously. What did you think I meant? What's a BCD? I'm not well versed in that rocket science mumbo jumbo. If that has to do with that, I'm a little lost. Does there have to be so many sharks? My goodness. That one's a bull shark. I can tell because of the dorsal fin and the pectoral fins line up at the start and finish of them. Looks like that one's got a nasty scratch on the top of its head. Pretty wild. Oh, speaking of leaking gas, I think one of these divers keeps passing it. Did y'all hear that? Also, hello, Sparky _ Pugwash and D Crabbin. It's a pleasure to have you. Hugan? Good to see you. Welcome in, buddy. Oh, yep, sure enough, that one's got a nasty scar on top of the head right there. That's unfortunate. Looks like there's 2 bull sharks now. And the 3 sandbars we saw at the beginning. Right there is a beautiful example of something I'm told is called a Z-line. As if the, what's his name? Zorro went and painted a Z right there on the side of the animal. See there? That dark and light shading on the side of the body, that's used to identify certain types of sharks. Or so I'm told. And bull sharks and sandbars are 2 of them. Bet you didn't think I was going to teach you something today. There he goes tooting again. What? Did anybody ever tell him not to do that while the camera's rolling? Say what? Oh, I'm being told that's a noisemaker device attached to the vest. It's called a quacker. I guess better get used to it. He keeps on doing it. Supposed to get the attention of the divers. And it's getting mine attention, I'll tell you what. Why is that shark so close to you? Oh my god. Oh, that was a loud one. Y'all, I apologize for the flatulent noises. I'm told it's supposed to be that way. Ah, I see, somebody redeemed shark socks. What does that mean? What do I do? Just take your shoes off and show them the socks I gave you. Are you serious? I gotta take my shoes off? What the hell's wrong with kids these days? Oh, here you go. Usually this sort of thing is, oh my god! Oh! Why would you do that when I got my feet up here near all the delicate stuff on the screen? What's the matter with you, boy? Well, there you go. There's your free feet, Mr. Science. Bring you an adult Happy Meal from McDonald's. What? Speaking of which, if y'all live somewhere where there's a Whataburger, yours truly is doing a promo with them for my new show revival. You can see my ugly mug on the menu. A Whataburger. That's right. This message not endorsed by Whataburger. Wait, what? Only in Texas. Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody sent me a picture of it from Dallas earlier today. It looked pretty funny. Matter of fact, I might go try and find that photo. Yep, there it is. Check this out. Look at that. Your favorite propane salesman is famous. What an honor to be on a Whataburger menu. Yep, that 2 double meat. That's my favorite. How about that? Y'all be sure and go follow this feller's science streams. I saw his stream the other night and it was pretty interesting, I tell you what. They were talking about epigenetics, which is apparently the study of things that can affect your genome during your lifetime, or at least how they're expressed. See, I pay attention. We don't have that place in the UK. Yeah, y'all don't have a lot of good things in the UK. Like rodeos and football. Although I have to admit, my time working in Saudi Arabia has, don't tell anybody, but it's made me a soccer fan. Whoa, God. That there remora got so close to the camera, I thought it was gonna pop out at us. Did you see the size of the hook in that bull shark's face? My goodness. Looked like somewhere in the world a Polynesian demigod is missing his hook weapon. If you know what I mean. I'm talking about Maui. You get it? No, we have real football. Not that American rugby in pads. I posted a pic of one in Discord. What are you talking about? Mr. Hugan, I'm not quite sure I understand. Whoa! Oh God! Oh! Why? God. When that's gonna happen, how about you make like a TV network and warn a brother? Ugh. You get it? Oh, I've just been told I'm not supposed to reference that network. We are a Hulu family now. We good? All right. I know the rest of the sharks are off there lurking in the shadows. Oh, that bull shark looked like it was getting pretty curious about that fillet knife dangling from his belt there. I thought for sure it was gonna come up and take a nip at it. That feller there, Josh was his name. Sure seems to know what he's doing. I tell you what, if I was the one having to feed them sharks, I'd be shaking in my britches. Now, why does that fish keep coming right up to the camera? Must be 'cause the case is shiny or something. That's kind of strange. Wow. I'll tell you what, the more we look at them, they're actually kind of graceful. Well, hi there, Nilf. Happy to have you. Hi, Sharky and chat. Oh, we have a guest host. Yes, sir, we do. I'll be your host for the rest of the evening tonight. Who knows? Maybe if we do a good job, I'll show up tomorrow and sing you a couple tunes. I've been practicing my Johnny Cash. Now there's a real American musician, I'll tell you what. The Man in Black. Have y'all ever tried one of them ghost peppers? Well, that'll give you a ring of fire, I tell you what. Speaking of Mr. Cash. Wow. That time I didn't even feel scared. It just kind of took its piece of fish and came right up into our face there and just glided right on by. Tell you what, it was even kind of magical. The more I look at Hank Hill, the more... Oh, I wasn't ready for it that time. The more I think he could be related to Gus from Recess. I don't remember what that fella looks like. Bobby used to watch it on the weekends. Gus from Recess. Oh, I tell you what, we got the same glasses. How about that? He's even got the same shirt I sport in the new season. What do you think? Yeah, he sure looks like he could be mine. I tell you what, that's pretty funny. Oh, there goes that dog barking at nothing again. Hey! Give it a rest, boy! That boy ain't right. Oh! That there jackfish got so close. Came right up into the camera. Let's see if we can capture that moment again. That was, very impressive. Whoa! I was just a tad too slow, but that's still pretty close. Looks like he was sizing that camera up. Even the fish were trying to eat your camera. That's crazy. I'd be looking for a new hobby, I tell you what. Bet you never heard a dog bark at the bottom of the ocean. Found a relative, yeah, indeed. A dogfish, hey, that's pretty good. Get it? Because that's also a type of shark. Pretty clever there, Sparky. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. Thank you for being present, Sparky, because you have reminded me we do not have a puzzle for the week. I think I know just the thing. There comes that little fish with the sucker cup on its head again. Man, when those bull sharks turn and swim straight at you, I'll tell you what, if your heart rate doesn't increase just a little bit, there might be something very wrong with you. Even here, sitting in this chair, kind of got me going. Not that all blue picture. No, nothing like that. I got an updated family portrait for you. How's that? We can put that on the old tangle.io. Seems fitting. Now, is that feller getting farther away, or is the cameraman? Oh, he's way out there. Look at that. Beautiful how they just sink into the blue and then float back in for another bite. You know what, Mr. Geek? I think you're right. The more time you spend down here looking at them, the more that fear just melts away and gets replaced with fascination. I can't explain it, but I can feel that fear just melting away already. Really just a big fish, I'll tell you what. Was 1,000 pieces last time too much? Should we take it down a notch? Or keep it that way? Tangle says the quality is bad. That's kind of rude. I don't know if it's talking about the photo or us. Either way, I'm offended. I did take it on my old phone. That dang dog. Yapping away. Like it's his job or something. I guess it is his job. He's supposed to bark at intruders, at least that's what we talked about. But instead, he just barks at every falling leaf and squirrel. Every drop of rain sets him off. Well, if that ain't the silliest thing, these little remoras are kind of awkward, aren't they? They keep coming in to check out your camera. That's kind of spooky, ain't it? That one shark disappearing into the distance, just out of view. Kind of chaotic, but yet somehow kind of graceful. They're not just bumping into each other or anything like that. Thank you for that, Miss Penguin Push. That's actually Mr. Shark Geek's dog. His name is Jetson, aka Jet for short. I'm told he was named after former Dallas Mavericks player Jason the Jet Terry. That man had a hell of a three-pointer, I tell you what. Yeah, I bet you think you look cool there, mister, making the hang 10 sign at your camera like a tool. I'm sorry, did that fish just defecate on you? How very rude. Look at him, he says, "Do you got any food?" No? Well, here's what I think about that. He doesn't even look offended. I'm offended for him, that's disgusting. Alright, y'all, I've got a puzzle link for you. There's your Tangle puzzle link to our family portrait. This is awesome today. Why, thank you. I do appreciate the kindness, Miss Penguin Push. Means a lot. We put a lot of work into making sure this stream is only the best quality. I think for the most part we pull it off. Wow, that's a hell of an image, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sharks and a couple more off in the distance. Now, why are you swimming so close to the surface, sir? Yeah, you better let that air out of your vest. It's probably expanding if I know my gas. And I do know my gas. Propane, that is. The only one that matters. You'd think by now these little fish would have figured out that's not food and left your camera alone, but I guess not. They're pretty persistent. I just noticed your face. Ma'am, I think you might need to get your eyes checked. It's been on the screen this whole time unless I did something terribly wrong. I appreciate the kind words, though. Thank you for looking at it. E to the 2I Pi is raiding in with a party of 15. Hey, what's a raid? Oh, that's where he brings his community into your stream. What? Those are all new people? Oh! Oh my god. Mr. E to the 2I Pi, thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. Happy Water Wednesday. I'm your guest host, Hank Hill. Today I sell sharks and shark accessories. But yeah, tell me all about your stream and how it went. What were y'all up to? I sure appreciate you coming in and checking out this here shark dive with us. That's something special. Trying to show the people that they're not mindless man-eaters after all. They're actually kind of beautiful in a way. I tell you what, I'm kind of coming around. I think I like them. Let's see. What does it say here about our friend E to the 2I Pi? You may be the king of the hill, but are you king of the sharks? I don't know that anybody's king of the sharks. We reserve that title for Aquaman. Well, let's see here. A mathematician who loves trivia and Nintendo. They're all about family-friendly math chats and education. Whether you're a math whiz or just curious, join their stream for some fun and learning. Well, that's exciting. Another educator here in the channel. How about that? E to the 2I pi. If you have any tidbits you'd like to share with us, or any links to anything you're working on, or social media posts you want to share with the community, please feel free to drop it in the chat, as the kids say. Oh, my glasses keep fogging up. Let me just take care of that. There we go. And I do appreciate the raid, thank you much. Shark head on. Huh. What? Oh. I think I know what that means. I'll be right back. I appear to be stuck to the chair. So I just put this thing on? Yeah, just stick it on there. Oh. I don't think I have enough hair gel for this. I'm probably gonna lose these. Oh! Oh. That sure is hot in here, I'll tell you what. Hey, Miss Bride of Shark Geek, meet a monkey, are you paying attention? If you can hear me, we've had to redeem, to give Jet a dog treat. I don't think I can reach the door with this cable. If you could give me an assist on that, I would greatly appreciate it. Wow. Kind of majestic, aren't they? Hey, I can still see with this thing on. How about that? Is that a dog I hear? Hey, Jet. You want a treat, boy? Hey, there he is. Come here, buddy. Oh, who's a good boy? He's like, you're not my dad. Jetson, you want one of these, don't you? Oh, yeah, you gotta let me get it out of the baggie. Hold on now. I can't get the treat if you stick your schnoz in the bag, I tell you what. Dang it. Get out of there. Hey. Now you're pissing me off, boy. Settle down. That's better. Nope. Stay. Good boy. Who's a good Jetson? Yep. That's my boy. Yeah, he's pretty intelligent. He's also pretty yappy. You really lucked out with that dog there. He is pretty smart. I'll tell you what, earlier, I seen him go to the back door and act all excited. And then his master said, "What do you want?" and started listing things. And when he said, "Are you hungry?" the dog would huff to say no, like, phew. And then when he said, "Do you want to go outside?" the dog ran in one circle real quick to say yes. He said he never taught him that. He just figured it out one day. Pretty interesting. That's all the treats, Jetson. I'm sorry. I'm fresh out of those. We'll have to wait until somebody else redeems it again. Until then, I suppose we go back to the sharks. There was a whole lot less pausing this time. We might actually make it through this thing early. Oh, look at that.
Look at all those bits!
That, whoa, what? What's a bit? Oh, they sure are pretty. Miss Penguin Push, thank you so much for cheering some bits. I sure do appreciate it. Now that's a sandbar shark with a notch missing out of its pectoral fin, if I'm saying that correctly, and a wound on the top of its head that was probably inflicted by humans. Either a spear or sometimes a gunshot. Mr. Wheels would like me to remove the shark head. Let's see if, oh no. I think I might have just wiped my age lines off on the mask there. That's all right. Looks pretty okay. We'll fix that later. I tell you what, I might have to refund that redeem if anybody does it again the rest of this stream. It's kind of problematic. I didn't even know there was an off. Yeah, I can get stuck in there all day. It gets pretty toasty in this here Florida heat, I tell you what. I miss Texas already. There it's just hot. Here it's hot and humid as God's armpit. I wish I could wipe my age lines off. Yeah, that's a nice thing about being a cartoon. I can just get some coconut oil and wipe them suckers clean off. I hope y'all appreciate it. I put mascara on for this. That's what all this is right now. Oh, it would appear Mr. Jetson is trapped in the room. Let me let you out there, little buddy. I'll be right back. Flug says, checking in from San Antonio. At least half the humidity has left Florida and is hanging right around my house. Great, that's something to look forward to when I head back to Arlen, I guess. I swear I took one step out of the airport in West Palm Beach and I thought I was gonna grow gills. Humans are not meant to handle this kind of humidity. Now, I might be crazy, but I think we just spotted a third injured shark, not including the one with the big ol' hook in its mouth. This one here has a tag sticking out of the dorsal fin, and if we just go back a couple of seconds to like 36... Yeah, right about there, I think. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. There's our tagged shark with another round wound on the gills this time. That's rather unfortunate. You see, you can tell when another shark inflicts one of these wounds because there'll be a circular pattern to the scar. You'll see multiple tooth marks on the skin, but this one's round. So unless this one had a very unfortunate run-in with a swordfish or a marlin, that wound was most likely inflicted by a human who tried to catch this shark. Makes me kind of feel better to see that it's swimming around without any trouble now. I hope it healed up all right. To be honest, I thought it was the emote you were working at last time I joined. Oh, you talking about the mask? No, unfortunately, that's a very real thing that your typical host here found at a Walmart in a bin for about $15 to $20. It was a whole Whole end cap full of random animal heads, and naturally one of them was a shark, and how can you resist? I actually thought it was someone else who redeemed that. I was trying to get a rise out of them. Ah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm told that feller Science Streams likes to come in here and make people put shark heads on. I think he's got some kind of obsession with watching it come off and on. Kinda makes me uncomfortable, I tell you what. That boy ain't right for sure. I think that mask messed up my flat top. That's alright. No sorries necessary, Miss Penguin Push. He was just trying to mess with somebody else. But it turned out it was you. So if anybody owes the apology, it would be Mr. Wheels. I think that was his attempt at apologizing. However, I'm pretty grateful for it, because it was hotter than Arlen in July in that helmet. That's what I'm calling it. That thing's a helmet. That ain't no mask, I tell you what. Here's another one with a fishing injury. You can see the jaw on this shark is broken. That means it got hooked here in the left side and was fighting for its life so aggressively that it broke its jaw. Now it's going to struggle to hunt and feed itself for the rest of its life. It's very sad, but unfortunately it does happen all too often. We need you to work on a shark butt redeem next, for science. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, Mr. Flug, but I am unsettled. I don't even think a shark has a butt. Nor would anybody want to see one if it did. Then again, I did just put shark socks up to the camera, so you never know. There's a pretty good shot of that sandbar with the wound in the top of its head. Looks like it did a lap around him right there. Ha ha ha, nah. We sometimes need to mess things up. Ha ha. No need to apologize. It was my own fault, I tell you what. Mr. Wheels, if you're mocking me, I don't know if I take kindly to that. Wow. Did you see the way that shark twisted? Let's see that again. That was amazing. Wow, it's like it balanced it right on the tip of its nose. That's amazing. And then it used the physics of the fish coming off its snout to funnel it right into its jaws. That's not something you see every day. And then that feller just kind of said, "Down, boy," to that other one. Or, I think that one was a girl. Kind of hard to tell with a shark. You gotta look pretty good. The boys have not one, but two wieners. They call them claspers. Dear God, did I just say shark wieners? Ugh. I think I'm getting too comfortable with this platform. Look how close that feller with the GoPro just got there. Takes balls of steel, I tell you what. Those fish are getting all riled up into a sort of tornado. They don't really seem to care that the sharks are interested. They're just swimming right on up. Getting in line for the buffet. It's almost like they either don't know or don't care that they could be next on the menu. Mr. Flug, I appreciate the gigantified Shark G24 lulls. That's a silly emote if I've ever seen one. I'm not dang old making fun of you, man. Oh, okay, well that's a relief. I don't know how to kick somebody's ass over a Zoom call, but I'd figure it out if I had to, I tell you what. Looks to me like that diver just barely made his saving throw versus becoming shark food. I might have missed that part. It was pretty laid back from where I was standing. Uchiha, I appreciate the lurk. Thank you for coming in and supporting the stream. There goes that dive guide pushing that funny toot button again. He sure likes that thing. Seems that way at least. Now you'd think that's a pretty scary sight, seeing a carpet of sharks swimming around right beneath you, but somehow I find it strangely serene. They only seem to care about the scent of the fish. They're not paying attention to the diver anymore. Well, look at that. We got photo bombed by a jellyfish. That's something, isn't it? Look at that other shark. That bull shark came in behind the sandbar and was begging like a puppy dog. Got any more for me, mister? Wait a second, is that a milk crate he's holding there? Don't they have something like property of whatever dairy do not steal or something printed on them? I don't know if it's a special milk crate, but you're right, that's what it is. Just a milk crate full of fish bits and guts and stuff. It's got a lid on it though, so he can keep him from just dive bombing it head first. Come on, Frosty Tools, let me do multiple shoutouts, dang it, yeah. That does frustrate me, I tell you what. I appreciate you trying to stay on top of the shoutouts there, Mr. Wheels, that's a lot. Helps me out a lot. If that isn't the gassiest scuba diver I have ever heard, y'all might not be able to hear it because I had the volume down to 50% this entire time. You'll hear it this time, that's for sure. That's just rude. Didn't anybody tell that guy he was gonna be on camera? Boy, that remora looked big up close. That was pretty incredible. I sell dive tanks and dive tank accessories. Well, now, you'd be right if you were talking about a different gas. See, I made a career and recently retired selling propane and propane accessories. Don't get me wrong, I'd argue air is pretty important too. But the containers and the fixtures on the canisters are quite different. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on propane. But today, the only thing I'm selling is sharks and shark accessories. As you can see, and you know what? I'm actually kind of sad to see the surface coming up so quick. I'm actually starting to enjoy this business of shark diving. Think I might give it a try. I probably have to hurry though, because I hear they're trying to ban this beautiful hobby right here in the state of Florida. It's very unfortunate because photographers like these brave gentlemen right here do a lot of good to helping promote shark conservation. And we need these beautiful fish if we want to continue living on this planet and breathing air and eating the food it has to offer. Well, look at that guy down there with the GoPro. Oh, no, wait, that's that guy over there. This is another dude with a big old camera. He stayed behind to get up close and personal with him, while the dive master's already fled the scene. Looks like the sharks figured out there's no more fish to go around. They've already backed away. Looks like that bait box is empty. Here comes the boat. Is it over already? That was pretty quick, I tell you what. Miss Penguin Push. I can't talk. I appreciate the lurk. Lurkers are the backbone of this platform, so I'm told. And, every couple of cents we make off of ad revenue helps me get another Alamo. So cheers to that. What do you think? We still got another hour and 45 minutes to go. Shall we watch it again? That was something. Let's put it on this tiny planet view and see how that looks. That looks pretty neat. How are things coming along with that puzzle? Are we getting off to a good start? Let me check on that right quick. You folks have already put together 101 pieces? I tell you what, you're putting that puzzle together faster than I could say I tell you what. That's pretty impressive. Alright, well, I'll just leave it. I'll leave you to it. Oh, but first I forgot. I gotta update the link on that there Mix It Up application. Let me make sure I do that. There we go. Now I'm pretty sure... Pretty sure you can just type exclamation point puzzle. Yes, excuse me for a second here while I break character. Mr. Dirty Diff, that's me holding the camera. Not that camera. This guy. Right there. There we go. What was I talking about? Right, so, I should just be able to type exclamation point puzzle. And, that ought to take you right back to the puzzle of our family photo. Look at that, it works. That sure is a handsome looking family, I tell you what. Now back to the fish. You know, I love fishing myself. It's one of my favorite pastimes. After doing this, though, I don't think I could ever go do it in the ocean again. It would break my heart if I caught one of these sharks. They're just so intelligent and kinda graceful. Not to mention, I hear they're smarter than bony fish, so they actually understand when they've been hooked and dragged to the surface, and they can process the fear that is associated with that. I'd hate to be the one that inflicts that sort of wound on a unsuspecting shark. And let's face it, you can't control what takes your bait. Now here comes another one. That must be the sandbars we talked about earlier. The sandbar sharks, that is. Looks like the feller holding the camera was having a hard time not letting the current blow him into the other divers. What a noob. Now, isn't that incredible when they flip like that? And you see the flash of the white underbelly against the dark coral reef on the bottom. Just goes to show you how the dark shade of the scales on their back helps to countershade and camouflage them. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. That was a loud one. So the deeper they get, the more light gets absorbed by the ocean. And you'll notice those sharks just blend right in with the bottom. After about 30 feet or so, you just lose them completely. Masters of camouflage, the sharks. That sandbar thought it was gonna give our cameraman here a brush on the shoulder. Looks like it decided against it. That's a relief. I think I heard you say sorry as you bumped into that dude with the big camera there. Doesn't look like he's too burnt up about it. Boy, I'll tell you what though, I bet he got a real good shot of that sandbar shark coming at his camera. It was about right there. Doesn't get much closer than that. So now a couple of these sharks that have shown up here, like this one coming after the bait, these are bull sharks. They have a nasty reputation as being extremely aggressive. That guy just yanked some fishing line out of that one's mouth. Isn't that incredible? Looks like it flinched a little bit, but he got it out. Good for him. That's amazing. You can see a big old wad of fishing line right there in his hands. The shark sure does seem to appreciate it. Came up and put on a show for us. And there's another shark here swimming around somewhere with a big old hook in its mouth. But this here diver grabbed that hook right out of its mouth like it was nothing. Matter of fact, I got a picture of that hook. I'll go find that for you right now. Bull shark, can you say that on stream? I sure hope so, because I just did. We'll just say that was a direct quote from that video game. What was it called? Another Crab's Treasure. That was a real cute one if you haven't tried it. They use terms like oh my cod and bull shark all the time. I apologize for the extremely flatulent dive guide there. As we explained before, that's actually a noisemaker called a quacker. I'm not just over here cutting the cheese throughout the entire dive. Now, Dirty Diff, if your question was, do I ever stream this live? I'll tell you what, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult and very expensive. Oh! Oh! Get it off! Oh! That might be a little too close for my comfort. Maybe not right up in your face. But what was I saying? Yeah, the scuba diving live on a stream is possible. However, you have to run a cord to the surface somehow and create your own waterproof device to connect to said cable, and then attach that to a dinghy that follows you constantly, which isn't really possible here in Florida with the strong currents we have. And then if you manage to pull that off, you gotta connect to a Starlink satellite. And well, let's just say, the Twitch stream doesn't exactly pay for that sort of expense. In fact, we're lucky to be able to go and do these dives at all, let alone get some highfalutin streaming rig for streaming underwater. So instead, I take a 360 camera with me down here with the sharks, and then I come back and share it with y'all like this. Like that overexcited little sandbar shark that just made a pass at our camera there. He's done it before, and I'm sure it'll do it again. I mean, I think that one was a female. Do I apologize to the shark for misgendering it? I don't know anymore. There goes that bull shark with the big old hook hanging out of its mouth. Looks like Mr. Geek did a little twirl for us to get a glimpse of it. I know catching them is wild. Can't imagine swimming with them. You know what? It looks nerve-wracking, and I have to say the drama is highly exaggerated. It is, in fact, a very relaxing and peaceful experience. However, it takes some time spent in the water with them. You can see our boy here holding the camera didn't even flinch when that one came up and tried to investigate whether or not this shiny camera was food. That's because he knows these fish very well. And he knows they're not really interested in him, but in the fish he may or may not be carrying. And I'll tell you what, the more you learn about these sharks and the more you observe them in their natural habitat, the more relaxing it becomes. And in a way, I don't want to paint a picture like they're puppies or anything, but they behave kind of similarly to dogs. And what I mean by that is whatever mood you put out, they send it right back to you. If you're calm, the sharks will be calm. Every now and then you get a bold one like that one that just rushed at the camera a minute ago, but it seems to be they do it out of curiosity and perhaps testing your willpower, not hostility. Mind you, if sharks saw us as prey, which they clearly don't, because they have not come to be accustomed to seeing the shape of a human in the water. If they did see us as prey, I'll tell you what, we wouldn't stand a chance. They would eat us every time we went into the water. But, luckily, they don't see us as viable prey. That gassy diver again, I tell you what. Trying to finish a talk about sharks over here, mister, if you don't mind. But yeah, the more you know about them, the more you can mind over matter and stay calm, the more they seem to respect you. Except that one there. That one was kind of rude. Let's watch that again. That one approached Mr. Shark Geek here. Came right up to his face. He told me that's the first shark he's ever actually had to manually deflect like that. But as you can see, he barely had to put his hand on the top of its head. And it bugged out of there like you had just goosed it or something. It didn't want anything to do with that contact, and it swam back off about its business. Now, I wouldn't advocate for putting your hands on a shark, but fortunately, for us, that's all you have to do if one does get a little too comfortable with you. Or, I guess, put a hand up like that, as if you're gonna. Sometimes that's enough. Granted, you don't want to put it in front of the shark's face, because that's a good way to lose a hand. But you want to wait until the last possible second and place your hand on top of the shark's head, and then direct it gently away from you. By pushing downward and to the side, preferably not towards another scuba diver. Not only is that extremely rude, but potentially dangerous. Especially if that diver isn't paying attention. I forgot to ask, Mr. Shark Geek, there aren't any dolphins on this dive, are there? No? Oh, okay, good. I had a bad experience with a dolphin once, but we won't get into that. That was a deep cut from season 1. Real quick, we'll take a break here and I'll show y'all this. This is the actual hook that was removed from the face of that bull shark you guys saw earlier in the stream. Had a big old fishing hook with some real thick line. Looks like it's bracketed on there with some kind of piece of copper or something. And you can see what looks like algae and perhaps soft corals already starting to grow on it. Isn't that remarkable? Tell you what, that's cooler than a penguin on an igloo. I don't even know what that means. Sometimes I just throw these Texanisms out there and hope they stick. Hydrate. Don't mind if I do. Looks like I'm fresh out of hydration. Still got my Alamo, though. Best beer in the state of Texas, I tell you what. My boy Bobby picked up brewing beer. Told me it needs to have more fruit in it. I tell you what, I have been drinking beer my whole life, and I have never once wished it tasted like fruit. What the hell are you doing, boy? Why are there burning sharks on the screen? Oh! What the hell was that? You could have warned me about the exploding sharks. Dang, you trying to give me a heart attack there, boy? Oh, Mr. Moxie Drinker. That was, that was better than caffeine, I tell you what. You scared the pants off of me. Now, what kind of fuel are we burning on these here sharks? I hope it's propane. What's that? Butane? Oh, that's the bastard gas. Ah, I see. That's the only type of gas they make these out of. Well, I guess you can't please everybody. Is that gonna go away or just keep on burning like that the whole time? That's kind of distracting. How do you stay focused on the sharks? With all this pyrotechnics and whatnot going off. Y'all, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to our good buddy Irish John Games, who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually live as we speak and is hosting, I believe, his 4th game jam. If you know how to make video games, get on over to that man's stream. And here in, I believe, a month, Jern Jam 2025 will be kicking off. And you can join up and make a game and compete for prizes. I'm not sure what the prizes are, but I bet they're pretty good. Mr. Shark Geek will be participating in said game jam. We can't do that just yet. Trying to give a shout out to the feller who printed my glasses. Nice guy by the name of Turgus86. Who's also a fellow Texan, as a matter of fact. Look at that injury on the side of that shark. That's the same one we saw at the end of the video with the yellow tag sticking out of its back. Bobby is right. Beer tastes better when it's fruity. I bet you're a woman, aren't you, Meet a Monkey? That sounds like something my wife would say. And also, it's blasphemy. There we go. Let's get a shout out to Mr. Turgus86. Nice, handsome gentleman from Texas who 3D printed my glasses in a spare just in case I break him on the stream. Look at that craftsmanship. Pretty impressive, I tell you what. Sure am grateful for that guy. Look at that funny little fish circling the camera like he's gonna do something. Nobody told that fish he's not a shark. Hey, little buddy, you ought to get the hell out of here. You might be next on the menu. Look at that. Now there's two of them. Perhaps they didn't notice the fish being fed to the sharks right behind them. Well, nobody ever accused fish of being the most intelligent animals on the planet. 5 sharks in frame. There's a 6th. Is that all? 6 sharks? That's a heck of a lot. Possibly 7. You know, there's a saying among shark divers, it's that you don't have to worry about the shark you can see. It's the one you can't see you gotta be worried about. And now that I see what this environment's like, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because if you can see the shark, it knows you can see it. They're very good at recognizing the pattern of eyes on an animal, so they know when you're looking at them. And they're not going to be comfortable enough to come and check you out most of the time if you're locking eyes with the fish. I'm told if you just stare them down like that, that's usually enough to keep them at a safe distance. Sometimes when people are trying to get a close-up shot of them, they'll even look away for a second and turn back around to get the shot. Although I cannot recommend doing so, as that would potentially put you in danger if you don't really know what you're doing. This is a good time to point out that all of the people you see on this video here have dove with sharks many times before. This is, as we say in Texas, not their first rodeo. So don't try this at home, kids. Oh my God, why are phones so big these days? Miss Mita, did your phone just come in? I know you were expecting a new one. I'm kind of grateful that they're getting bigger, I tell you what, because the bigger they get, the less I have to squint when I'm looking at the screen on them. Oh, why, howdy there, Coral Rose. I'm your guest host today, Hank Hill. I'll tell Mr. Geek you said hi, though. There's a Coral Rose here saying hello to you. What do you want me to say? Alright. Oh, I done goofed and I forgot the second E. I messed up. Well, y'all go follow our friend Coral Rose. You can just click on the name there and hit that heart button. I do appreciate it. I've been using that voice my whole life. You might say I've been practicing for this role for a long time. In fact, I moved here from Arlington, Texas, which is the city that the show King of the Hill was based on. Well, one of them anyway. Oh. All this scuba diving keeps fogging my glasses up. There goes Shark Geek looking like a tool again, making hand signs in front of his camera. What a goofball. Check it out. Those are all little bits of fish meat, I think, and that shark just swam right through it and stirred it all up. Let's see that one again. Look at that. I bet that jackass doesn't even know his dive hood has untucked itself. That's shameful. What, were you raised in a barn? Come on now. Oh! Yeah, okay, it was the fish. It was that little fish who charged up here and then rudely pooped in front of us. That's what stirred up all those little bits of fish. It probably came in to take a bite of that, and when it didn't find any food, it rudely defecated in front of this here scuba diver. Fish have no manners, I tell you what. We gotta wait for our cameraman to get a little closer to the sharks again. I don't think he's afraid of them at this point. But you wouldn't know it from how far away he got right there. Almost like he let the current get the best of him. That's embarrassing. To be fair, though, I think this was his first time coping with the Florida current. Is scuba diving scary or hard to learn? Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's not easy. There's actually a lot of math involved. You have to look up what's called dive tables. They have depth on one side, and your bottom time and air consumption on the others. And you have to use those numbers to calculate how long you have to do a safety stop for based on how deep you go and how long you stay down there. There's also a thing called Boyle's Law, which has to do with how much pressurization happens as you go deeper into the water. For example, there's a tiny amount of air trapped inside this man's vest. It keeps him perfectly buoyant. But if he starts to float up to the first bar, or the top 30 feet of the ocean, that gas will expand and he will then become more buoyant. So that's something these divers have to be constantly mindful of. It is quite literally a science. That's why we're streaming in the science and technology category. Not only is scuba diving a science, but shark behavior and shark biology are as well. Please excuse our flatulent friend over there with the bait box. He's using a device called a quacker. You press a button and it lets some of that air out of your vest in a way that normally to us in the water sounds like a duck quacking. That's why they call it a quacker. It's supposed to attract the sharks and get the attention of the other divers, but I'll be darned if it doesn't sound like a big old wet fart on this here camera. Must be that thick plastic camera housing muffling it and making it sound like a toot. It's quite embarrassing, but it is what it is, I suppose. Looks like we got some more sharks in frame now. Let's see, that's another one in the background, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, still just 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, there's a 7th fading off into the distance in the background. Looks like there were 7 after all. Didn't see that one either. That might be an 8th. That's a whole lot of finned friends, I tell you what. I'm not good at science. Well, that's all right. I'm no scientist myself either. But I think I'm pretty all right with book smarts, and I do like to read the odd scientific publication about sharks, as well as about the storage and processing of propane and propane accessories. It's quite fascinating, I tell you what. It's a good toilet read, if you will. Boy, that shot got real dark there for a second, didn't it? Just call me Pink Floyd, because we went to the dark side of the moon for a second there. I don't know if it's gonna fit in my purse, but it's a pretty teal color at least. Well, if it does fit in your purse, Meet a Monkey, and somebody tries to take it from you, my boy Bobby learned a valuable lesson in a self-defense class as to how you stop him. You just make sure and yell real loud, "That's my purse, I don't know you," and then kick the man in the gonads. I advised against it, but then my boy Bobby tried it on me, and I tell you what, I have to admit, it was very effective. I dropped his Game Boy faster than you could say, "That's my purse." To answer your question more thoroughly, Coral Rose, scuba diving is scary in theory, but in practice, you'll find that the more you know, the better you understand it, the less scary it gets. You practice for every potential situation. You practice the answer to every problem that could present itself. And then I'll tell you what, before you know it, you're as cool as a cucumber underwater. In fact, some people prefer it to the surface. And after watching this a couple of times, I can't say I blame them. I'm gonna try something now. I was trying to do this a minute ago. We'll just use the @ there. Hey, look at that. I didn't F it up this time. Y'all be sure and go follow Coral Rose. He's a variety streamer, if I'm not mistaken, and a pleasure to watch. I think I shouted out the right person there, because Mr. Geek's not yelling at me right now. I think we can work with that. Why don't we take another moment to check in on that there puzzle y'all are working on. Y'all, by the way, I'm told Mr. Shark Geek, as well as Science Streams and Casey Snowart, will be attending TwitchCon this year. Not only attending, but also giving a talk on wildlife cameras, and how you can use Twitch as a platform to advocate for animals. It brings a tear to my eye to see more people using Twitch as a platform for education. It's a beautiful thing, I tell you what, and I hope more people start to do it. And get the word out there that you might actually learn something on this platform for a change. So be sure and tune in if you're not going to the con. Be sure and tune in at, I think it's 3:30 on Sunday, October 19th. And I think that's in Pacific time, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Mr. Nelf says that is normal. I've been diving forever and still get very nervous in open seas. But the vast majority of diving is not in the open seas, so I bet you would do fine. Boy, that one gets so close, it gets me every time. I highly recommend learning to scuba dive, Coral, especially if you can find a school that takes you into an old, abandoned rock mine. Sometimes they fill those up with water and then use them as scuba schools, and it can provide some of the clearest water you've ever seen to dive in. I actually got certified in a tiny lake in central Texas called Stillhouse Hollow Lake. It's down there by Fort Hood, in a town called Killeen. So when I learned how to scuba dive, you couldn't see the hand in front of your face. So everything else I've done out here in the deep blue felt pretty easy after that, I tell you what. It's quite a dream. Now I'll admit, I've only done about 40 or 50 scuba dives ever. I'm not actually sure because I didn't do a great job of logging them at first. So now my wife's actually caught up to me in log dives. But I'll admit, every time I go on a scuba dive, I'm nervous before I get in the water. Now, as soon as I get in the water, those nerves just wash away, and I'm very in the moment and quite in my element, literally. Water, that is. But those pre-dive nerves, while you're standing on the boat and can't see what's underneath you, still get to me a little bit. And I think that's probably normal. I'd wager most people just don't admit it. But I found out after years of experience with being afraid of deep water where you can't see the bottom, that's really the scary part after all. It's the not being able to see. So once you get underwater and you can see your surroundings quite clearly, you realize there's really nothing to be afraid of. And you're really just in a big old fish tank with some big old fish. And you see, even the ones that approached our cameraman here directly didn't seem to do so out of anger or aggression, but just curiosity. And then they went about their business in a very calm manner. So that's what I mean when I say the more you know, the less you have to fear about them. I tell you what, as well as these glasses were created, they sure do dig into the bridge of my nose and itch something fierce. Why, hello there, Mr. Ratfinks. We were just watching a beautiful blue water dive video with some sharks. To be specific, that there is a sandbar shark, and these other sharks you see in the background are bull sharks. There's 2 bull sharks and the rest are sandbars. At least that's what that guy told me, Mr. Shark Geek there in the goofy untucked dive hood. What an amateur. It's like nobody ever taught him to tuck his shirt in. Ugh. Mrs. Oh, I'm so sorry. How embarrassing. That's the second time I've misgendered somebody on this stream tonight. The other one was a shark. Luckily, I don't think it heard me, as this was pre-recorded. My son Bobby had to correct me on current, gender culture, shall we say, in America. As I just retired from working in the propane industry in Saudi Arabia, I was not aware that we had all-gender bathrooms. So that was a bit of a culture shock coming back to that, I tell you what. But I think we're adjusting. You can really see all the fish he's got in that box over there. I didn't notice that before. You know what? While we're talking about Texas, I want you guys to know about somebody else I know that streams from out there. Is it gonna work? Oh, nope, because I didn't type it right. My buddy Fall Rate 1000 is a Texan too, and he streams video games and welding. He makes art with arc welding. I'm probably saying the wrong kind of welding, but I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But he likes to laugh and weld and game and all sorts of things, so y'all make sure and hit that heart button and give him a follow. Howdy there, Blucifer. How you doing? Welcome in. Good to see you. Couldn't pass away a Hank Hill cosplay. Well, I hope you're satisfied, sir, 'cause that's just my face. I just look like that, I tell you what. Y'all be sure and go follow Blucifer here, too. I'll get you a shout out in just a moment. Blucifer is another member of our stream team, The Fleet. Which just had, I'm told, an outstanding Fleet Fest 2 raid train event not that long ago. There's our buddy with the injured gills and the tag in its back. And another shark coming in from the distance to see what all the scent is all about. Oh, never mind, that's that same sandbar shark with the injury on the top of its head there. Almost all of these, it seems like 3 or 4 of these sharks had injuries that were likely caused by humans, like both of these right here. Have either stab wounds or a potentially a gunshot wound from being caught by people who don't know how to properly release them. Or how to shoot, apparently. Unfortunately, this does happen, and the sharks sometimes survive that wound. But for whatever reason that escapes me, that practice is not being made illegal. And what they are trying to ban right now is what you see before you, this beautiful spectacle that is shark ecotourism, which does heaps of good for protecting the sharks and educating people about them, is currently under threat. Shark fishermen lobbied with local lawmakers to try and put a ban against shark feeding, which unfortunately does make this sort of operation dang near impossible to participate in, because if you don't actually give them a couple pieces of fish, the sharks just get the hell out of there. They'll come in, investigate the scent, say false alarm, and take off and tell their buddies not to bother. So if you live in Florida, there's a petition for that. How's it going? I'd say it's going pretty good, because I'm dry and I'm not in there with the sharks. How are you doing, Blucifer? See if I can get this here cable out of my face. Quite awkward. That little toot button on his vest gets me every time. Thank you for the shout out to Blucifer there. I do appreciate it. Well, I'm jaws deep into Pal World. See what I did there? Shark jokes. Very nice. I can appreciate a good dad joke from time to time. While we're on the topic of ocean jokes, I got one for you. What's a pirate's favorite letter? If you said R, you'd be wrong. It's the C. As in, see what I did there? Luna got it right. On a scale of 1 to 10, this cosplay is an 11. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I'm no mathematician, Blucifer, but I don't think 11 was made to... I don't think 10 was made to contain 11. 11 is too large to fit inside of 10. That's why 11 was created. Fish are scaly. That is accurate. So are sharks. But the scales on sharks are more like teeth. And in fact, they call them dermal denticles, or skin teeth. They even have roots, much like a tooth would. Here we go again, sadly reaching the end of the dive here. We've got another one that should be just enough time for us. We want to go check that one out too. We also have a dive video we haven't played here in a while with some great hammerhead sharks, if you guys would rather check that out. We'll set up a poll for some different species. How about that? Because I know normally I sell gas, but we're off the propane today. Can't believe I just said that out loud. And today I'm selling sharks and shark accessories. I'll set up a poll for hammerheads, lemon sharks, and Caribbean reef sharks. Heck, we've got some tiger shark footage too. We can put that up there. Alright, y'all, we got a poll up right now for what video you want to watch after this. Let me know in the poll what kind of species of shark you want to see next, and I'll go fetch that video for you and we can make that happen. I suppose it would probably be beneficial for me to also go and have a look and make sure those videos are still present on this hard drive. Because your host did have a catastrophic hard disk failure just 2 weeks ago. Looks like he's getting ready to turn that camera off as they paddle back over towards the boat. Yep, that's the end of that one. I'll just hit play again while we're still trying to dig up the other footage. Alright, looks like everybody voted for hammerheads. So hammerhead it is. Now these are the coolest of the hammerhead species, in my opinion. The great hammerheads. The largest species of hammerhead. I'll get that loaded up for you. Now, before we continue, I do need to hydrate, and I'm fresh out of beer and water. So, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to play the anti-pre-roll reel, and then we'll get right back into our next scuba dive. So while that's happening, please be patient. We'll be right back. And then we'll get started diving with some more sharks. How does that sound? Ah, that one's 25 minutes. That ought to work out just fine. Alright, we'll see you good folks in a moment. Alright, y'all, I have returned with hydration. Gotta get a little coolant in me. Y'all are doing a pretty good job at putting that puzzle together, I tell you what. I am impressed. You never know just how parched you are until you take a sip of water. I feel kind of bad that I didn't try to help with this one, but you guys have already done the edges, and I'm not about to sit here and look for a complicated piece live on the stream. That would be tedious. I don't think anybody wants to see that unless we see something real obvious. Like, for example, one of my eyeballs would probably be quite easy to locate. There's Bobby's hand. Yeah, I think I'll leave the puzzling to the experts here. Y'all are doing a pretty good job without my help. So I'll leave you to it. And stick to what I know best. Sharks. Yeah, yep, sharks. Let's see if we can improve the quality of this picture. That looks pretty alright. Alright, let's roll. Now this was a pretty fun experience for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. This was filmed by Mr. Shark Geek here and his wife, who is behind this person with the pink strap right there. Miss Meet a Monkey from the chat, one of our fearless moderators. And of course, our host, which a lot of people are familiar with, this gentleman back here. His name is Paul de Gelder, and he's a big inspiration of mine and Mr. Geek's. He was attacked by a bull shark about 15 years ago, lost his right arm and leg. And in a roundabout way, that led him to become one of the biggest advocates for sharks and protecting them. And now you can watch him, well, right here, as well as on Shark Week pretty much every year. That's Paul de Gelder, legendary shark diver extraordinaire. I believe he came down here to the Bahamas to film some stuff for Shark Week and thought, hey, you know it'd be smart if I took 20 of my best friends out here to come and do these dives with me, make a little money back on that deal. And you know what? I'm not even mad about it. That's pretty clever, I tell you what. And I'm told he'll even be joining him again this November on the same trip. So who knows what kind of magical creatures will show up on that dive. Or I should say those dives, because I believe there were 4 on this trip, not including the cage dive. Wait, is that right? Hammerhead, Tiger, Caribbean Reef, cage dive. And the shipwreck. Yeah, 5 dives. Well, hi there, Ella. How are you? You like hammerheads, do you? Look at Paul over there laying down on the job. That's just embarrassing. Have a little respect. Call yourself a safety diver and lay down on your belly. Now this here approaching and passing the hammerhead shark is actually a nurse shark, which I'm told has the most powerful suction ability in the animal world. They use their jaws that are specially created for it to suck fish out of cracks in the coral reef. Now they're not exactly prone to biting humans, but if they do, they don't let go. And in fact, some sharks have had to be taken to the hospital with the nurse shark still attached to their arm. Because they, as the kids say, effed around and found out. Why is everyone lined up like that? I'm not sure we've seen this setup before, or at least I haven't. Well, I believe that guy's played this one many times on the stream before, but it has been a minute. So, the way this particular dive operation works, it's owned by that gentleman standing up there in the back. His name is Neil. I think he's Neil Watson Jr., and the operation was started by his father, if I'm not mistaken. And so what they do is they notice the swimming patterns that these hammerhead sharks take, right? They kind of size each other up, if you will, and they go in a pattern from smallest to largest, or I mean, the other way around, you know what I meant. From the biggest shark down to the smallest, and they kind of form a pecking order, and they'll let the biggest one go in and take a bite from this here feeder first, and then the next largest shark will come in after that, etc., etc. And I suppose you probably didn't hear anything I just said because we are in the middle of an ad break, so I'll have to just repeat that later on. That's more like it. See your safety diver over there doing his job and scaring off that rogue hammerhead that tried to sneak up behind us. Thank you for that shout out to Luna, I sure do appreciate it. Y'all, I had the pleasure of sitting in on one of Luna's streams briefly very recently, and I'll tell you what, I enjoyed it. You should go give her a follow, hit that heart button, and you probably will too. I'll tell you what, there is nothing better than that view of turquoise water, as far as the eye can see, and sand, and deep blue off in the distance. It heals the soul, I tell you what. Those of you that can hear me right now through the ad break, I have to tell you I do appreciate it. Your support helps keep this channel going and actually gives this here guy, Shark Geek, food on the table, and he does appreciate being able to do this for a living. It's not easy, but dang it, somebody's got to do it, and I'm certainly glad he is. we're back from ads in 5, 4, 3. Y'all, welcome back from the ad break. I was just about to answer Ella's question there. So, as you can see, everybody scooted up a little bit and we're now closer. So, they observed that Neil Watson and his organization observed that the sharks swim in an almost circular pattern. They'll take the bait in order from biggest shark to smallest shark. As you can see, a great deal of size difference between that first hammerhead and the next hammerhead. And then after that, they turn and casually glide past the visitors. Or I guess divers would be a better term. So their guests line up in a crescent shape. The sharks will take the bait, and then you'll see they almost politely kind of just glide past all the people, giving them opportunities to take photos and videos while the shark swallows its little snack and moves on. Here, this one just took the bait and then swam right over their heads. Some of them, the big ones like that, don't really seem to care. They'll just occasionally take off right over you, and you get some pretty amazing footage from those moments. But that's the main reason we're in a crescent shape like this, is that the sharks tend to take the bait and then swim alongside the divers, almost as if they were a wall. It's something that seems particularly effective with hammerheads. Although, they did the same thing when the tiger shark approached the day after this. There you go, you see the shark approaches. It's just close enough to get a good look at, probably about 5 or 6 feet, and then just cruises parallel to the divers. That's that human wall going into effect right there, I tell you what. Works like a charm. So to keep all the divers as safe as possible and still be able to get good quality content, like what you're watching right now, they have everybody line up in a semicircle around the gentleman with the bait box. You'll excuse me, there is a fly on my screen. I was gonna swat it, but it just left. I guess it knows what's best for it. I was about to kick that fly's ass. The divers are probably so noisy to them, I would imagine. You know what? That's a pretty good point there, Luna. Sharks actually have excellent hearing. And as you could hear right here as Mr. Johnny next to me, who actually filmed some of the shark content for Shark Week and Shark Fest this year, so I'm told. He takes his selfie stick there, if you will, and uses it to hammer that PVC pipe into the sand so he doesn't have to hold on to it so tightly. And you can see this guy was trying to let him know a hammerhead was approaching from behind him. But Kevin there was in his own little world, I tell you what. He's alright though, he was cool as a cucumber. I don't even say that. Now I've said it twice in one stream. How embarrassing. Yep. That's a hammerhead. You better turn around and lock eyes with it, boy. Well, lucky for you that PVC pipe was over there. Maybe he was a little too calm on that dive. But, back to our point. So as Johnny here was banging onto the pipe, you could hear quite loudly the clicking sound of him tapping the PVC pipe and the selfie stick together. And the sound carries very well, so sharks can hear injured prey from a very, very long ways away. As well as sounds like splashing, which are often made by prey in distress. So it does make a lot of sense to think that divers blowing bubbles would make sharks pretty nervous. And it often does take a lot of convincing and patience with the bait to get sharks to come in close so that you can get footage like this. In fact, I have personally seen bull sharks not come within 50 feet of a person, whether or not if they didn't have a piece of fish on them. I watched a dive in Mexico that Mr. Shark Geek filmed, where the bull sharks wouldn't even come close to them until the bait was introduced. In fact, they stayed so far away you couldn't even see them on the camera for the first half of the dive. Why do I want to pet them? I never would for their sake. Yeah, that's probably a good call, Ratfinks. But why do I want to? Well, I think that's because we're not playing dramatic, shocking music here with the sharks. If we were playing some kind of dramatic violin string screeches and other horror movie sounds, this would probably be a very different vibe. But as you can see, if I eliminate the music entirely, this becomes a very beautiful and relaxing experience. You realize there's really nothing to fear. Just some large, beautiful animals in their element. They're actually kind of cute, I tell you what. Maybe not the hammerheads, they're a little goofy looking with that elongated, what did you call it? Cephalofoil. But, yeah, that's a face only a mother could love, but they sure do look cool, don't they? But yeah, they kind of do have that pet me look, but I can't stress enough, do not touch the animal unless you absolutely have to. As we saw in the previous video tonight, this fella right here did actually have to hand deflect a sandbar shark, but he assured me that is the first and only time he has ever had to touch one. So it is rare, but sometimes depending on the species and how bold the individual might be, you have no choice but to touch the shark to deflect it. But even then, it doesn't take much. Boy, sharks or no sharks, that's a beautiful scene, I tell you what. Suppose we can introduce the music again. I think I made my point. There might be a delay, Ratfinks, but yes, I have had to touch one before. There was a video we watched earlier tonight at which a sandbar shark approached very quickly, and it was I'm pretty sure trying to come after the camera, so I had to put my hand on top of its head and gently push it away, and it got the point and it took off. It made a couple other passes at the camera, but left me alone after that. Their noses are super sensitive, just a touch, and it's sensory overload, yes? Yes and no. Actually, Luna, you're right about the snout being very sensitive. However, that's because it's covered in electroreceptors called ampullae of Lorenzini. And as it would happen, in a lot of species of shark, the sensitive organs on the underside of the snout work almost like an open the mouth button. So you definitely want to avoid touching the underside of the snout if you have the choice, because you can almost be sure the shark will open its mouth and it might accidentally suck your hand in the process. So, if, God forbid, you ever do have to deflect a shark, you want to make sure your hand goes on the top of the head. Here, like this. Oh! Oh! I didn't know it was gonna laugh at me, that's... Y'all remember these games when we were kids? That's hilarious. Well, so far so good. Didn't get me that time, but... You don't ever want to touch underneath here, because it'll snap on you. But if you put your hand on top of the head and push down and to the side, usually that's the best way to go. Because if you touch underneath the nose there again, that's pretty much the open the mouth button. Oh, let's see how lucky I get. Oh! God! The first try! Come on now! I guess I just got lucky with that first one. Dang it, that scared the daylights out of me. I need to make that a channel point redeem or something. That thing's actually kind of funny, I tell you what. Maybe I could get... Who made this? Hasbro or Mattel or somebody? Nope. Some rando in Shantou, China. Huh. Well, I was gonna say, maybe we can get a sponsorship for that, but probably not. That was not acting, y'all. That little plastic shark genuinely scared the crap out of me. It's a lot scarier than any of the sharks we encountered on any of these dives, I'll tell you that much. They were so placid and calm. It really is a marvel to witness. I swear, down here just watching them swim around, I can just hear David Attenborough talking in my ear. Are they as smooth as they look or rough? You know, it's funny you should ask. There's actually a group of shark conservationists and scientists, well, technically all kinds of animals, and it's called Wild Green Memes. And they use contests where they go for the best meme to raise money to protect wildlife. And one of those teams, is called At Least 76 I can't remember how many it is. It's called At Least 70-something Practicing Shark Scientists. And they have a recurring joke about sharks being smooth, which they are not. I can guarantee you they are the opposite of smooth. They look like it, but their skin is in fact a lot like sandpaper. I'll show you a picture. Their skin is covered in tiny teeth-like scales called dermal denticles. Here we go, that ought to do it. So I'm not sure what species this is, but here's an example of shark skin teeth or dermal denticles, and you can see they all kind of point in one direction. Not to be confused with One Direction, the band. And if you rub the shark one way, it'll feel more smooth, but still not smooth. They're very rough. But if you rub the other direction, it's even more rough. As you can tell, all the scales kind of point the same direction. Now here's another example of what they look like. I believe this is under an electron microscope, but again, I'm not a scientist, just a humble propane salesman, retired propane salesman. But this, I believe, was taken from a mako shark, I'm told, which is much more hydrodynamic than the other shark species you just saw the scales of. So you can imagine these scales help them to be more hydrodynamic in the water, just like a golf ball has dimples to help it fly faster through the air. Because at the end of the day, air and liquid don't really behave that differently when it comes to dynamics. And I'm sure you could imagine that if you were to brush your hand from the right to the left on these scales, it would feel a little bit smoother. But if you were to go from left to right, you're going to have a bad time. It could even potentially break the skin on your hand because it's that rough. Oh, thank you. I'm supposed to say thanks, right? Yeah, thanks for scaring the living hell out of me there, Wheels, with my own voice. God, Twitch is a weird place, I tell you what. Now, where'd we leave off? Now keep your eyes peeled, because there is a bull shark that came in here at some point to try and steal some of the bait, but I think it was intimidated by all the people and the hammerheads. Unlike these nurse sharks, which clearly don't have a care in the world, and laid on the ground, begging for scraps like a puppy dog. Oh, don't worry about the questions, Ratfinks. I love that sort of thing. Questions are my favorite part of the Twitch stream, because we get to interact with you wonderful people and maybe even teach you something in the process. That's why I do it. I asked twice. Sorry about that, Luna. I missed your question. I'm not so great at it. I'm still working on getting better at following along with the chat, but I tell you what, it scrolls so fast it's kind of hard to keep track. Let's see here. Smooth, we talked about that. Love that man, he's amazing. Who, Johnny? Yeah, he's pretty handsome, I guess, if you like dudes with ponytails. I believe they call that one a man bun. Ain't no way you just heard me say the thing about David Attenborough. That was like 5 minutes ago. I tell you what, there is some nasty lag on this platform today. Shoo, buddy. Well, y'all, I think we have about a 5-minute delay, so be ready for that. Just like we wear special suits in the water, Olympic swimmers. Actually, that's accurate, and if you didn't know, I think what you're talking about is they started making special swimsuits that emulate shark teeth, and in fact have tiny little shark teeth 3D printed onto the fabric that can help them go faster in the water. And in fact, the same technology has recently been used by, I believe it was Japan Airlines, which is now 3D printing artificial shark teeth onto airplane fuselages to give them less resistance as they fly through the air, making for more fuel efficiency. So you can imagine, that's another reason why we need scientists to be able to go and get up close and personal with sharks like this. Because the things we learn from being close to them can actually improve our lives. Is this what Balint was saying, the replicated for swimsuits? Sparky, was that guy stealing my topics again? I gotta have a talking to with that ant geneticist, I tell you what. Keeps trying to beat me to the punch with the shark facts, and I'm tired of it. I can't even say that with a straight face. I love that man so much. In fact, let's get a shout out for Mr. Science Streams. Oh, look at that. It gave us the option to hit the follow button even without the Frosty Tools playing along. Oop. Was that the end? Well, I don't know, but we're doing it again. Let's skip ahead to the good part. Oh my goodness. Jaded Fairy, welcome in. Boys and girls, we got another raid from our friend Jaded Fairy and their community over there. Jaded Fairy, how are you doing tonight? Well, I guess, yeah, it's evening. At least where I'm at. How are you? How was your stream? We're probably a good 15-20 minutes from tying this one off, so I appreciate you from coming in and watching me try to sell some sharks and shark accessories. How'd you do there? What were you guys streaming on your channel? Doing pretty good, says Jaded Fairy. Jaded raid coming in. That raid call's got some flavor to it, I tell you what. It was a little short, but I had fun playing some Spyro. You know what? I played Spyro once on Bobby's PlayStation. That game's alright. I'm not a big fan of video games, but I did appreciate that one. Oh, ball! Oh my god! That's a lot of raiders, I tell you what. Ladies and gentlemen, another legendary streamer has just joined the chat. Everybody, say hello to Streaming Falcon and his friends over there. What were y'all doing? Were you in the middle of playing, looks like it was Blue Prince, am I right? Well, we're doing something a little different here today. This is my good friend Shark Geek. Y'all might know him from this channel here, and he's asked me to stand in and help him sell sharks and shark accessories. And well, it's been fun. I tell you what, I was pretty nervous coming into it because those are some big fish. But the more time we've spent down here looking at them, I'll be darned if it's not one of the most fascinating and, hell, even relaxing things I've ever seen in my life. So, how was your stream? How was the blue princing, if you will? Did you get all the rooms unlocked? I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no idea how that game works, aside from the couple of puzzles I've seen. If memory serves, sir, I know you gotta take off here in a hurry, but if there's anything you want to share with the community before you do please leave it in the chat for us. Don't be a stranger. And thank you again for the raid. I do appreciate you trusting us with your community. I know things can get a little goofy over here sometimes, but you know what? We hope to have a little something for everybody. And on that thread, I've got a nice little channel trailer just to tell you exactly what the hell I'm talking about. So we'll go ahead and play that now. Hi, I'm Geek. I started streaming to raise awareness about the dire need to protect sharks from overfishing. Humanity's been trying their hardest to destroy all life in the oceans for the past few decades, and they're doing a damn good job of it. So I've turned to Twitch and social media to try and raise awareness about this issue. But it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. I see no reason why we can't do that and have fun in the process. I want there to be something for everybody. So here's what you can expect to see. On Tuesdays, or Tooth Day, I stream shark science news and education. On Wednesdays, or as I call it, Water Wednesday, I stream a combination of drone footage, 360-degree diving footage of sharks, and the development of a shark diving simulator game I'm making myself. Last but not least, there's Thrash Thursdays. I write and compose original metal songs about sharks written in their perspective. On any given Thursday night, I might be actively writing and recording one of these songs, or we might just be hanging out and jamming. I try to keep it fresh and interesting for everybody while promoting shark conservation in the process. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, come on by and hang out with us. We'd love to have you. Yep, so, that's what this feller Parker does on this stream on a typical week. But, things are a little bit different right now, as you can see, as I'm guest hosting. I got a little bored in my retirement after a lifetime of selling propane and propane accessories, so I was pretty open to the idea. I've never been shark diving before myself. But, you know what? I think I might try it. He makes it look pretty exciting. And they're kind of beautiful in a way, much to my surprise. You know what? Dang it, I'll even go so far as to say it. I think they're worth our protection. Not everything with sharp teeth is a monster. Alright, let's see who we got coming in here now with the raids. Jaded Fairy, I appreciate the raid again. Thank you for coming in. Hello, Hellion Hound. So hard. There's a fly flying around my face. Get out of here, fly. I'm gonna kick your ass. 000_lull. Welcome in. Artemus. Ramrod. Hydroplex. Hellion Hound. Did I already say that? Yeah, I think I did. And of course, Mr. Falcon. So hard. Y'all, I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us in our little weird corner of the internet. If you like what you see here, myself and Mr. Science Streams and Casey Snowart will actually be giving a presentation about all kinds of animals, animal education, and wildlife education advocacy. And you guessed it, sharks will be a part of that. This is a good corner. I appreciate the kind words there, Artemus. Am I saying your name right? I think I am. I think I've heard other people say it like that, if I'm not mistaken. Cool channel, that's unique. 'Cause I'm hosting, right? Not 'cause it's the only one with sharks on it, with actual sharks. Surely, that's what you meant. You sure are saying it right. Alright, good. I don't want to feel stupid. Names are important, dang it. I don't think I got yours there, Ancient Ink Infinite? I know I messed that up. Welcome in, though. Falcon, if I missed anything you wanted to share... I wanted to share that this is a gem I've been telling people about all day. Thank you for having us. You cheeky streamer, you trying to take the attention off of you. I see what you did there. Very clever, sir, and I do appreciate the support. It means a lot, sir. Now you go run off and do whatever it is you had to go and do. I remember you were saying you were busy, and we'll do our best to take good care of the people here. And show them how we can be at peace and coexist with sharks and not be in danger. It's a beautiful thing, ain't it? Right now, if any of you live in Florida, unfortunately, ecotourism like this is at threat of becoming banned. Let me see if I can find that petition. Yep. There's a petition for a bill that is with the House of Representatives right now that would ban shark feeding in the economic zone from 3 to 12 miles way offshore. Now, of course, it makes sense to not allow shark feeding and shark ecotourism within 3 miles of the shore. That would be insane. However, feeding them offshore just opens up possibilities for education and fascination that we are depriving the good people of. Had to make sure there's nothing over here doxing me. But these good people here at change.org put together a petition to stop this bill from passing. I have my doubts because the shark fishermen have lobbied pretty hard with lawmakers to get this one to pass, and it already has 4 co-signers. But it's currently with the House of Representatives, and I'll be following it. And if you're in Florida, or hell, even if you're not, there's a link for this if you want to participate and help your voice be heard and explain to them why we need shark ecotourism, which they go into more detail about in the petition. You see, in the Bahamas, they started feeding sharks as a tourism business, and then using that opportunity of having people's attention to teach them about the sharks and why they're so important to the environment and why we should protect them from overfishing. And it was so successful that people realized sharks were worth way more money alive than dead. In fact, a single shark might be worth a couple $100s if you sell its fins on the illegal fin trade market. However, that same shark through ecotourism could bring in up to $1 million a year. As soon as they figured that out, the Bahamas said, "We're done with that," and they banned it. You cannot fish for sharks intentionally in the Bahamas anymore. So as you can see, the stronger ecotourism gets, the better off the sharks are, and the better off the environment is, because the environment depends very much so on sharks. Without them, we wouldn't have coral reefs. And without coral reefs, we won't be able to breathe. That's right, coral reefs produce most of the oxygen we breathe, and are one of the biggest carbon sinks on the planet. Well, specifically the phytoplankton and zooplankton that live on them. But we're not splitting hairs here, we're just here to show you guys some exciting and relaxing footage of sharks and shark accessories. You see here, this is a GoPro on a selfie stick. That would be an example of a shark accessory. Signed, "Sharks are my favorite." I sure do appreciate that, Miss Valerian. Oh, look at that beautiful pass there from that great hammerhead shark. That one was very recognizable. As you see, it has a notch missing from the fin. The dorsal fin is the big one on the back. I call that one Notch, after the guy who made that there Minecraft video game. Oh yeah, this is the part where I was trying to let Shark Geek was trying to let Kevin know that there was a big old hammerhead approaching him from behind, but he couldn't hear me, so I poked him with my stick. I mean, he did. You know, whatever. Anyway. That there is called a remora, or a shark sucker, as some people call it. You see, their dorsal fin, as we were just talking about on their back, actually evolved into a flat suction cup, which allows them to suction to the body of a shark or another predator, potentially. They look kind of silly, but they're actually pretty cool. I'll show you a couple of pictures of them here. Yeah, that looks like a good one. So there you go. Their dorsal fin has essentially flattened and turned into nature's most powerful suction cup. I don't know if that's true, actually. I might be making that up. Octopi probably have the market cornered on that. But they nonetheless have a suction cup planted on the top of their head. And scientists have actually tried to replicate this type of suction cup to create an object that they can drop onto the back of a whale to track that whale and its movements as it migrates. So colloquially, they call... Boy, that's a fun word to say. Say that 5 times fast. Colloquially, they call these a shark sucker, because you can almost always find them stuck to the backs of sharks. You might also call that a shark accessory, I'll tell you what. Because they wear them like an earring, get it? And those remoras sure were curious about the camera. It seems there's a couple of shots where they come right up and swim right up to the lens. Fish seem to be attracted to anything shiny. I might have to sand down the bridge of these glasses. It is scratching my nose something fierce, I tell you what. Alright, let's see if I can do any better job of keeping up with the chat here. Where was this filmed, says Kitty Cotton Socks. Well, Kitty, this was filmed in Bimini, a tiny island on the far west of the Bahamas. You can actually take a ferry. It takes about 2 hours, and it'll take you from, I believe it was Fort Lauderdale, or Lauderdale by the Sea. That's fun to say, Lauderdale. And then you hop on the ferry and go across the ocean to Bimini. And then you can stay at a resort and swim with some big, beautiful animals like this, as long as you got the scuba experience. You don't take just any old wet behind the ears snorkeler down here to do it. You gotta at least be a scuba diver, have a certification in scuba diving. What are the sticks for, says Artemus. That's a good question. Now, you might think the stick is for poking the shark. You'd be wrong. The stick is actually just to create a barrier and extend your reach, so if a shark gets too close for your comfort, you could extend the pole and let the shark know this is as close as you could possibly get to me. It's meant to intimidate them, and it works quite well. But also, let's say a hammerhead did make a mistake and accidentally plowed right into one of the divers. Well, you could hold that stick up vertically, and it would block their head from being able to reach you. Now, a hammerhead wouldn't do that much damage, and actually there are 0 recorded fatalities of hammerhead sharks on humans. But if it did tend to make one of those mistakes, you'd be able to stop it dead in its tracks, which is a metaphor. Sharks don't actually leave tracks, if that needs to be said. But that's why we have those sticks. Also, the dive team plants the sticks in the sand to show the divers where they're supposed to sit when they come down on the dive. Really, you don't need them, but it does help you figure out where the bait box is going to be and where they want the guests situated. for helping you not drift away is not the correct answer, but that's actually a pretty darn good guess, I tell you what. They are silly looking with those flat parts. Y'all, thank you so much for the follows. Appreciate you. Mike Haruni, Violet Blue, Hellion Hound, Ank Infinite, Kitty Cotton Socks, and Polynomial Possum. That's a fun one. We just recently broke 800 followers, and I'm gonna try my damnedest to hit 1,000 before we go do our presentation at TwitchCon this year. We've got if you want to watch it, it's a talk called Twitch Goes Wild. I forget the rest of the title. We'll actually go look it up here so I don't get it wrong. Here's the San Diego schedule. All right, let's see here. So you just go look at the schedule here. I'll give you the hyperlink to that one. And you can just search for shark. I made sure to put the clickbaity word of shark in the title of the stream, or of the talk, the panel, if you will. It's called Twitch Goes Wild, Sharks, Science, and Wildlife Cams, featuring Shark Geek, Science Streams, Casey Snowart, the Connor O'Brien, who I believe is affiliated with an organization called Alveus Sanctuary, and potentially his buddy Space Voyage, but I'm told he might not make it, so it might just be the four of us. It says here, discover how creators are using Twitch to bring wildlife education and conservation to life, from shark diving and scientific art to setting up live animal cams. This panel features streamers sharing how they blend passion, advocacy, and tech to connect audiences with the natural world. That sounds like a good time to me, so if that's something you want to check out, make sure you're paying attention at October 19th of this year at 3:30 p.m. I believe that's Pacific time, on the Give Please stage. Huh. That one will be live streamed both by Twitch and myself, as well as I know Science is gonna. I don't know if the other two will. We'll find out. But I'm really looking forward to that one, I'll tell you what. Bringing shark conservation to more people on this platform sounds like a hell of a good time to me. Now, where'd I leave off? Comb-over looking fin. That's pretty funny. It's funny because this here, Mr. Neil, has flowing hair that the waves were blowing, and I kept saying it looked like a shark fin. Well, when the current picked up, it kinda also looked like a comb-over, I tell you what. Kinda like that. He doesn't know I've been making fun of him relentlessly, but hopefully he'll never find out, because I'm going diving with him again in November. And if he knows I was cracking wise, he might not be such a diligent safety diver next time. I should probably watch my tongue. Just kidding, Neil, you did a great job. Keep up the good work. We loved it. And you're very handsome. I like your hair a lot. In fact, I'm jealous. Miss Valerian says they initiate the outer ridge of the sucker pad to create the suction and seal. You're absolutely right. Are you into shark science and/or shark science accessories? Because that was a very astute explanation of how the remora sucker pad works. I don't even know if that's what it's called, but it is a sucker. I am actually not a marine biologist myself. I'm just a diver who reads up on shark science and observes as much behavior in their natural element as I can. Let's go out and do what they call the tiny planet view. That's pretty neat, right? Could they swing their head like a hammer and break the stick? Turgis, it's not likely. But what they can do with their head is swing their head around and look at this here shout out that we just gave to Turgis 86. That gentleman is now my own artisan glasses crafter and was kind enough to 3D print this gem right here. He's also a top tier streamer and has some of my favorite emotes on this platform. I'll tell you what, like that waving grizzly bear you see in the thumbnail, and he's got some stuff with geese and in fact even sharks. You should check it out. He's pretty all right in my book. But no, a hammerhead would not likely break that stick. They use their head like a metal detector to detect prey that are hiding in the sand. They use the ampullae on the underside of that head, or cephalofoil it's called, primarily to detect stingrays that have buried themselves. And then they'll even use it, once they find the stingray, they'll use it to physically pin the stingray to the ocean floor. And if they succeed in pinning it to the floor, that's when they start to feed. Feed means they eat it. For those of you not versed in the science lingo. Which I'm told is actually the theme of Mr. Shark Geek's next song, which is called Bring the Hammer Down. He said it's a thrash song, whatever that means. We'll see how that goes. Sounds like a great talk. Well, I certainly hope so. I'm excited about it. Repost. So also don't wear shiny jewelry or reflective anything that could resemble fish scales if you go in the water. Luna, that is 100% accurate. Leave your jewelry and all your shiny objects at home. You might have noticed in the previous dive video that there were some sandbar sharks that were extremely attracted to the camera housing because it's very shiny. I'll show it to you. You see, an Insta360 camera uses a plastic housing that's very reflective and in fact looks similar to fish scales. So you certainly want to avoid anything that looks shiny and reflective like this. Otherwise, you might have a close encounter with a shark like this one I had with a sandbar shark on the dive video we were watching earlier today. It got a little bit too curious and tried to eat the camera a couple of times. Whoops, that's just the family photo there. There we go. That's a better one. That's the same sandbar shark trying to take a bite out of my camera housing because it was shiny. It looks like a fish. And it was sitting still in the water and looked like an easy meal, so the shark came over to investigate. Not one, not two, but 3 times. Before it finally came and tried to ram me in the chest, and I had to gently push it away. Then it left us alone after that. But yes, good point. There are things you can do to keep safer around sharks. Some sharks are more excited by certain things than others. Like some sharks are more attracted to flowing hair. So if there were lemon sharks around, for example, or bulls, I would have probably suggested wearing a dive hood to keep that hair under control, because it kind of looks like injured fish meat. Holy crap! Look at that big old hammerhead passing by. Let's rewind that back. Oh, that is a big fish, I tell you what. Gotta be like 600 pounds at least. That is a hell of a lot of animal. So yeah, doing things like wearing all black, avoiding bright colors. What else? No shiny objects if you can avoid it. And always keep eye contact with the animal. You want the shark to know that you can see it. And right now, our operator and safety diver, Neil, is letting everybody know that they're going to bring the bait box a little bit closer to everybody to get a good look. And he's checking on everybody's air. We all said we're okay by giving him the okay signal there. Letting him know we got plenty of air. But the dive is wrapping up and we're all going to make our way back up that anchor that you can barely see in the background up towards the boat, which is off in the distance behind us. We just follow the anchor line up about 30 feet and then there you go. You're back on the boat, headed for dry land. Hey, that was pretty good. I didn't even do that one on purpose. I actually landed in the pool. Look out, guys, there's a pool shark. That was pretty lucky, I tell you what. I actually beat you to the punch this time, Wheels. It doesn't happen often, but we got Mr. Turgis a shout out earlier. I know you're usually the quickest draw in the West, but not while Hank's on watch today. I'm just kidding, I got lucky there, I tell you what. Fresh meat, welcome in, how are you today? We got a special shark dive with hammerheads, one bull shark, and some nurse sharks, and we just got done watching bull sharks, and what is he doing? Oh, he's pointing out the sharks off in the distance, and I was like, yeah, old news, bro, I see them. Isn't there a command for that drop game where we can all do it at the same time? I want to try that. I think it was like group drop or something. Let's try it. I don't think that did anything. Well, I'll figure it out and we'll try it some other time. And I'm going to wind this one back up here, and I'll tell you what, we're going to head on out of here for the night. We're running late, and I can tell Peggy's cooking dinner because something smells incredible. Y'all, we got an ad break coming up here in 2 minutes and 55 seconds, and I am fresh out of snooze buttons. But I want to say thank you to everybody who came by here today. If I've missed your name, I'm so terribly sorry, but let's see. We had raids. From Streaming Falcon and Friends, Jaded Fairy, and E to the 2i Pie. I sure am pleased you are comfortable sharing your community with us and grateful for the support. I hope we've been able to entertain and or educate you today. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come up with a special raid message for the subscribers here. Let's see, what can we say to make people chuckle as we raid into their channel? Bah! Break out the propane. And hide the charcoal. Yep, that ought to do it. There you go. There we go. We got a regular old raid call and a rather silly raid call coming up, so let me go and see who might be around. I have a few raid targets in mind. Looks like not a lot of them are... Are any of them on? Nope. That's alright, we'll find us a good raid target. I have a plan. I gotta get into my dashboard to check it though. Give me just a moment. Resubscribe! Resubscribe! Who did that? Oh! Luna Nevermore, I sure am honored that you felt that it was necessary to subscribe. I don't expect it, but I do appreciate it. I am trying to make a full-time gig out of this, and it ain't easy, and every little bit helps a hell of a lot. So I'm grateful to have you around. And for your patronage, as they say. Now, what the heck did I just do with my dashboard tab? There we go. Bear with me just a moment here. You know what? We already mentioned the name. So what we're gonna do this time... Let me just double check one more thing here. Yep. We mentioned the panel with Casey Snow Art. So I think we're gonna go and bring the community over there to see what she's arting. Get that team spirit going. Maybe we can even surprise her with a little knock-knock action. See if Hank can't come in and stream bomb what's going on. We'll see. I'll hit the button. She might not answer. Alright, y'all, hold on to your butts, and remember, we'll be back here tomorrow for Thrash Thursday. So if you like metal music, I might actually be a guest singer on tomorrow and do a little Johnny Cash for you. But y'all have a good night, and thank you so much for coming. Thanks for all the support. I love being able to talk with you guys about sharks and shark accessories. Alright, grab your messages and let's go see Casey Snow Art. Bye-bye, y'all. Y'all come back now, you hear? Whoa!